Test. All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Tonight, Tuesday, March 16th, in the headlines, 8 dead in shootings at 3 spas in the greater Atlanta area. And this comes one day after this headline. Jesuit Order pledges $100 million in reparations to descendants of slaves. And what I'm going to show you is I don't think these two stories are unrelated. So, Atlanta is one of the most Jesuit cities in the nation. The sports teams, the Falcons, they wear the red and black like the Jesuits, and the owner of the team, Arthur Blank, if you look, his birthday is September 27th, the same day the Jesuits were recognized by Roman history. The star quarterback in Atlanta, Matt Ryan, went to Boston College, one of the nation's 27 Jesuit universities, and of course they did that major Jesuit ritual with him in his 201st career game, where he gave up the big lead against the Cowboys right after they put up the stat about how his passing yards, along with Brady and Breeze's, add up to 201 laps around the stadium in Dallas. And I'll make a lot more sense of that 201 as we move through here. But we'll start with the 8 dead in 3 massage parlor shootings in Atlanta, a predominantly black city and a very Jesuit city. Again, if you're new here, gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. And as I explain in chapter 1 of my book, the English language and the calendar we're on, the Gregorian calendar, are credited to the Catholic Church, and they're all synced up together, which couldn't be any more clear in light of the reparations ritual, as we'll get to in a moment. But in gematria, murder equals 83 and 38. And remember, the song Murder by Numbers by The Police came out in 1983, and it's about how killing's the sport of the elite. It's as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. The movie poster Murder by Numbers, the letters that are changed to numbers are the 3 and the 8. E to 3, B to 8, 3, 8, 8, 3. No other letters tampered with. Again, in gematria, murder is 38 and 83. The way you get those values is murder equals 83 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. So Z is 1, back to A is 26. And then murder equals 38 when you use the rules of numerology with the alphabetic order run in reverse. You see how M is 14 below? M's the 14th letter when you count backwards. Use the 6th letter when you count backwards. What's going on in the cipher above is just numerology. The numerology of 14, for M, the 14th letter, 1 plus 4 is 5, so M becomes 5. Use the 6th letter, R's the 9th, D's the 23rd. The numerology of 23 is 2 plus 3 is 5, so D becomes 5. E the 22nd, 2 plus 2 is 4, so on. Very simple, basic math, but this code, truly enlightening. And before we go any further, we will cover all 4 base ciphers. Just wait. But if you are new here, you want to know all 4 base ciphers. They are the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. So just doing the same thing forwards and backwards. But notice how murder is 79 with the most simple cipher. Look at the movie poster again. The orange numbers that are right next to the letters are 7 and 9. And remember, the star of this film is Sandra Bullock. By the way, again, look up the song Murder by Numbers by The Police, where killing's as simple as ABC 1, 2, 3. Again, it's by The Police, and it's often the police reporting suspicious stories like this. And but again, Sandra Bullock's got that 83 too, so learn the code. You'll really start to see through things. This murder 83-38 pattern, when you know gematria, it shows up so often in suspicious deaths, news stories. It's mind-blowing. And then you just read the story, and look at what time it says the killings were at. 8:30 p.m. 8:30. That's per The Police. Murder by Numbers by The Police came out in 83. The same year, Prince recorded I Would Die For You and spelled it with the number 4 and the letter U, where used the 21st letter. So I Would Die 421. He died on 421, April 21st, the Queen's birthday, 33 years after recording that song. But notice the third. It said the third shooting was in Cherokee County. The other 2 were in Atlanta, and then the third in Cherokee County, which is a suburb, Cherokee 38. This news comes on March 16th, written 16/3 in the majority of the world, like 163 the 38th prime. And with regards to Atlanta, Georgia, again, we're talking about a predominantly black city with a lot of Jesuit influence, one day after the Jesuit headline about reparations. And again, if any black people are celebrating getting $100 million in reparations from the Jesuits, it's because you don't know what these people are about. In their book of ethics, it probably says if you give black people $100 million, you can kill at least $100 million. That's the way these people operate. This is not who you would ever want reparations from. This is a truly evil entity, and that's what they do, is evil. Now, for all the people out there who went to a Jesuit university because it was the best school in town, I'm not saying this about you. The Jesuits are known for having good schools. It's how they recruit the right type of candidates into their fraternity, like the politician scumball types. But anyway, now I don't know why I just said scumball. I probably meant scumbucket, but whatever. Anyway, remember, the language and the calendar come from the Catholic Church. And just look at this picture that goes with it. The sun beaming through the stained glass windows on Jesus on the cross, when historically the cross represented the 4 seasons dictated by the sun. In our language, sun can be used to reference the object in the sky that provides light, or it can be in use to the, word for a male offspring of children. Son, the Son of God. The Gregorian calendar, which is based on the sun from the Catholic Church, which worships on Sunday. Anyhow, this happened Monday, March 15th, the Ides of March, the day known for killing, the killing of Caesar, kind of like, the Roman story of the killing of Jesus. But this happened on March 15th, the Ides of March, the 74th day of the year. And let's just start right there. Again, if you have not read my book, it first teaches about the Catholic Church, the language, the calendar, and 74, and how it's all synced together. And it's so easy to see that the Jesuits are responsible for this language calendar magic if you follow the historical timeline. But look at this. March 15th, written in most parts of the world, is 15/3, like 153. Jesuit Order is 153 when you write it out that way. 153 like 15/3 when you use the reverse alphabetic order cipher. And with regards to the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order, forwards, Jesus. Remember, the Jesuit Order is short for Society of Jesus, who serve the Catholic Church. But on the 74th day of the year is March 15th. So we got the Jesuit Order connection, plus it's the 74th day of the year. Jesus, Messiah, cross, parables, gospel, all equal 74. Again, Jesus is the Messiah to the Christian faith. He was reportedly crucified on the cross per the Bible. Some people think he was really hung in a tree. Other people think he never really existed. I'm not arguing anything. What I am showing you are facts. Parables is what Jesus spoke in, which are riddles. Parables is 74, and the story of Jesus is the gospel, which is 74. The practice of coding numbers into words is called gematria, which is 74, which comes from Jewish mysticism, which comes from Kabbalah, and it reminds that the Jesuits were formed by Catholics and Jews who had converted to Catholicism. But notice, gematria, English, Jewish, occult, gospel, they're all 74, right? Just like parables, cross, Messiah, Jesus. Also equaling 74 is the word simple, and the official name of this cipher is Simple English Gematria. They all sum to 74. And remember, out of the 50 states, only one sums to 74. It's Oregon, which is the 33rd state, reminding of Jesus being crucified on the cross at age 33. Also, the English translation of Jesus is Joshua. Joshua also sums to 74 at the same cipher. Holiday is 74. I should have put that up on the list, because holy day, holiday. Think about what day Independence Day is in this nation, 7/4. And just to show you these things, everything I just talked about, holiday 74, Joshua, simple. In the most pure cipher, which is the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, Independence Day is 74. And when you use numerology with the alphabetic order in reverse, Jesus Christ is 74. The word Masonic is also 74, and modern Freemasonry was created by the Jesuit Order in the city of London. London's another 74, speaking of English. And George Washington. He reportedly had 74 generals. He was a Masonic president. The Jesuits consider themselves a military order who created modern Freemasonry. But George Washington had 74 generals. 33 of them were Masons. Masonry's 33, secrecy 33, order 33, federal 33. London, the city of London, is one of 33 neighborhood areas in the greater London area. Anyhow, 74-33. Oh yeah, out of the 50 states, only Oregon sums to 74 with simple English. And again, if you doubt it, try it out. Write out all 50 states. It's very easy to type them out. You'll have your list, and you'll see that only Oregon sums to 74. And as you do that, realize once upon a time, I did it all by hand in a notebook, because this calculator didn't exist back then. The person who found my work was inspired to make this. Thank you, Derek. But again, I used to write everything down in a notebook, and I would double check and triple check to make sure it was all right. But out of the 50 states, only Oregon, the 33rd state, sums to 74. And again, this entire nation, our entire history, our language, our calendar, you start to realize it all comes from Rome. It's all Jesuit. And again, Bible, slavery, these are historic concepts, history being recreated. We're going to come to this Reverend Timothy Kasicki here in a moment. But look at this. They mention how two of the presidents at Georgetown, or what's his exact say? Notably including Georgetown University, where two Jesuit priests who presided over the university in 1838 sold 272 enslaved men. So they have that in there, plus the $100 million deal. We'll get to that. But notice in Gematria, Georgetown 42, Jesuit 42, slavery 42, vaccine 42, Tuskegee 42, Jackie 42, Martin 42, Malcolm X 42, Cosby Show 42, Huxtable 42. We know who they're targeting with the vaccine lately, And talk more about Tuskegee in just a second here. But if you have not read my first book, where's my first book at? Right here. My first book is massive. My first book is huge. Took me a really long time to write this. The 18th chapter is about how they, the Jesuits, the Masons, the powerful fraternities that operate in front of our face, but from a secret place, day after day. The 18th chapter of this book is about how they always bring 42 and 59 together in rituals that have to do with black history. And remember, February is the month that sums to 42, and it ends on the 59th day of the year, right? February 42 ends on the 59th day. Motown Records comes out in 59, in Detroit on the 42nd parallel north. Always bringing these numbers together again and again. So on the 59 date numerology, this article, the Jesuits paying reparations for slavery, and again, in the most simple cipher, slave, Negro, Rasta, blues, they're all 59. And remember, all those words, when you just run the alphabetic order in reverse, blues, Rasta, Negro, slave, they're all 59 and 76. And remember, the Million Man March was on the day, leaving 76 days in the year, October 16th, right? October 16th. Okay. Now, with regards to the Society of Jesus being behind this, remember, Jesus Christ has the 74 connection. When you write out 42, it equals 74, and the New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus. New Testament also equals 42, like math, and the first book is Matthew. The septenary cipher, which I don't use very often but is important, just a reminder, Jesus Christ is 59. And based on the limited physical description of Jesus in the Bible, it's easy to contend that he was very possibly a black man, especially when you witness what the Jesuit Order does with all of the young black rappers and the ongoing Jesus rituals. And that's a long list, including people like Tupac and Nas. But also of importance, when you write out reparations, it equals 71, like African American. Catholics also 71, as is the Society of Jesus when you put the on the front. And don't forget the Nat Turner story. Nat Turner, here's a reminder of who runs Hollywood. The Birth of a Nation fizzles at the box office, making only 7.1 million, like 71, and it debuted October 7th. The date can be written 7/10. But notice, African American is 71. This is from an older calculator back in the day. But here in the most pure cipher, the blue cipher, African American 71. And the name of the film, Birth of a Nation, 71, right? And then that film is about Nat Turner. And Nat Turner was killed November 11th, 1831. He was hung on that day, which was a date with 71 numerology. All throughout the last election, they said Biden was carrying 71% of the African-American vote. 71 was the 20th prime, the 2020 election. But Nat Turner... And notice Nat Turner's birthday, too, right? 10-2. Remember what's up with 10-2. In the most simple cipher, slavery's 102. The N-word has the 42 and 102 encoding. And, it's things like the Ahmaud Arbery story. It was 102 days after his reported killing that the video came out where you could hear his killers calling him the N-word. So many rituals done with all these numbers. George Perry Floyd, 102. The American Civil War began on the 102nd day of the year. All the Civil War statues came down after the killing of George Floyd, whose full name, George Perry Floyd, is 102. But also, just even more to the ritual. When you write out 100 million, it equals 93, right? When you write out 272, it equals 93. And again, $100 million and the mention of 272 enslaved men to the Jesuit priests who ran Georgetown, the nation's first Jesuit university. Again, they know the slaves built Washington, D.C., and the Jesuits ran it the whole time. But look at this. These 93s, right? Remember, when you write out God's Son crucifix in Nazareth, it's 93, and they tell us the sun is 93 million miles away on average. And the 930th chapter of the Bible is where the New Testament begins, which is the story of Jesus. And in the Bible, Jesus is crucified between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Again, Malcolm X has that 93, Martin Luther King Jr. This is another number stamped all over Black history. When you write out Black History Month, it's 93. Triclavianism are the 3 nails in the Jesuit logo. If you're not familiar with the Jesuit logo, the logo's the sun with the Templar cross in the middle, and then the 3 nails that represent Triclavianism, which is the way the Romans crucified, which is a belief that, some people contend that's how Jesus was crucified. But Triclavianism's 93, Black History Month. Now notice, when you write out Triclavianism, it's also 201 like the Jesuit Order. And the name of the priest who's talking in this article, Timothy Kasicki, his name is the exact same as the Jesuit Order in all 4 base ciphers. And notice one of those ciphers is 84, like Jesuit, like United States of America. And then one day after these reparations, you get this shooting in Atlanta, right? A city that equals 59, one day after the reparations on the 59 date, and a city that's very Jesuit and on the 84th meridian west. You see what I mean? This is how the Jesuits roll. They pledge 100 million, then the next day, a horrible murder story in a predominantly black city, and we'll see what details come out of this yet. But this is how these people operate. These are 6 psychopaths. And don't forget they print the money too, so giving out 100 million from their monopoly machine ain't nothing anyway. But, and with regards to 201, hey, look into Tuskegee. What happens when you search Tuskegee 201? You know where this stat fits in? Tuskegee 201. The 201 men in the control group did not have the disease. So the control group for Tuskegee, and don't think this is some obscure source, this is the CDC right here. Everyone's going to report the same thing. Here's another CDC article about it. Here's history.com with 201. Remember what the coronavirus outbreak simulation was? That's right, Event 201. On the same day the Military World Games began in Wuhan, China, which was October 18th, 2019, 1 month before the outbreak in Wuhan, China. And then with the pandemic, who are they targeting now to get the vaccine the most? Keep telling that black people need it the most. People with darker skin need it the most. But these people, they don't play. These numbers have all the meaning in the world to them. And remember, we're in the time of the first, for people who are new here, the most simple cipher, the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, his name is 201. Let me spell it right. Ignatius of Loyola, 201, right? And Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. His birth name is Jorge Mario Bergoglio, which is 201. And look this up. Pope Francis, Suite 201, Domus Sancte Marte. You will see that he is the first pope to live in Suite 201 at the Domus Sancte Marte. So, all sorts of information about this. And he's the first Jesuit pope. And again, the Jesuit Order's 201. And the man who's given the details to this story for the New York Times. This story was first put out by the New York Times, and the New York Times is run by a Jesuit right now, and it always has been. Again, you guys, the people who control the government control the news. That's why the press, that's why all these freedoms are really given to the press, because it's the fourth branch of government, and it's their propaganda wing. And that's why, you can pretty much get away with lying in the media the way everything is set up. They make the country seem like it's some great thing for us, but just look at the reality of it. You're born, you got a number stamped on you, you're put in their slave school, you're trained to be a good slave, a good obedient slave to the system, pay taxes, get a job, get in debt, learning more BS in years of school. And look at it, at the end of the day, hardly anyone has any common sense in this society, anyone has any soul, any backbone, mostly just a bunch of consumer wage slaves. And again, look no further than the same ones who just paid out $100 million in reparations for some PR. They're going to get their money's worth. They started today in Atlanta. And I wouldn't be surprised if the murders are real and they're fudging the numbers just so they can get their ritual in there. But, you know what goes on at a lot of massage parlors, and a lot of money runs through massage parlors. They probably just collected a big chunk right back today, So, don't be fooled, truth seeker. These reparations are not good news for black people. Couldn't be further from the truth. And again, New York Post has this out today, but the news broke Monday with the New York Times on the Ides of March. Ides of March is to remember the killing of Caesar. Remember, in the most simple cipher, killing is 74. He was stabbed to death. Stabbing is also 74. Roman is 74. All roads lead to Rome. Julius Caesar, Ides of March. By the way, Ides of March has that 56 in it, just like Society of Jesus has that 56. And did you notice Ides of March also has the 61? Like Roman, like Jesus, like cross, like Christianity. Or Christian is 61. That's what it is. Christian 61. Christmas 61. Church 61. It's not hard to see who built the language. Remember where 61 comes from, too. 61 represents God in sacred geometry, and gematria means geometry and language. The reason 61 represents God is because that's how many circles are in the flower of life, which is the most important shape in sacred geometry. All other shapes come out of it, essentially representing, God, and God being the creator of all things, all shapes. And remember, that's what Kabbalah states in its Book of Formation. The opening page says, God created the world with letters, numbers, and words. And that's what gematria is. And the Jesuits built our whole language this way. Just like how Hebrew, which came well before English, was built this way. So these are old beliefs in practice to this day, but kept in secret, never taught in our years of slave school. And you see how most good American slaves are when they get out. They think they know everything they need to know. So they get their diploma, they know everything. You try to talk to them about this, they'll be like, they would have taught me that when I was back in slave school. It's like, what? You can hardly even speak clearly. Say that again? They would have taught me conspiracy. You just talk to these people. It's like they're like, what is wrong with these people? Why do you guys think you know anything? Do you even listen to yourself? Come on, man. You guys sound retarded. Laying down facts here day after day, writing books about it, getting backed up further and further. You read chapter 1 of my book, and I made this book free for everybody. Just go to my Patreon page, scroll back to the Christmas Eve post. You can download the entire ebook, this whole book. You can download this whole book. You can download this whole book for free as well. I made both of my books free to download so that the knowledge can get out. Chapter 18, exactly what I'm talking about with this. Both these books cover both the subjects, but Chapter 18 goes big on 42 and 59. And Chapter 1 about this book, again, starts right with 74. and how it's clear to see that the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits within the Catholic Church, who gave us the language and the calendar, are behind the perfect encoding of what we're witnessing. You just follow the historical timeline, it's all there. 50 years after the Jesuits were recognized by Rome, that's when the calendar came out. That's when the English language became standardized with the way we use it today. And again, it's just mockery everywhere, you guys. It is mockery everywhere. This picture is mockery. And yes, I know people are going to ask about March Madness again. We're doing March Madness on Patreon. So go download the books for free, start to read, and then see if you want to pledge $5 a month to help us further this cause. And realize everyone who's pledging $5 a month, for the most part, they're getting it back tenfold. Or if not, a lot better than that. So we'll leave it there, you guys. Got a lot of work to do tonight. Still more to decode on the March Madness because we're doing another live stream on it tomorrow. But if you do sign up, you can go and watch the ones we already did and then join us tomorrow for the new one. So we'll leave it there, you guys. Have a good rest of your night. If you're in the other part of the world, have a good day.